Okay, we're live. Now, if anybody can find us, because I had to redo it. This is in front. We didn't get a chair to get level.
I need to tilt it up. You're gonna just turn this off then?
You better turn the light on.
Well, the light's not plugged in.
Oh, I thought you were going to plug it in.
You told me to wait.
Oh, I didn't say to wait. I was just like, didn't know what to do.
Go. I need not closer. That needs to go closer.
Yeah, last time you plugged it in behind the couch, remember? Oh, it's tipping. Whoops. What the?
We can't stay.
Well, at least nobody's here. I don't think, anyway. How do we know? That's pretty good. Nope.
No, but
It was good, and then you switched it again. It's fine. I don't know if anybody. No, Lori's not here. Hey, Lori, can you hear us? Last time we were having problems with people not being able to hear us. Yep, she says you can hear us good. So, seeing as you're the only one here, what'd you think of the videos so far that we posted and the pictures?
that was bear walking.
Yeah, that's Bear walking around on the floor. It's his nails on the hardwood.
Bear, go lay down.
Oh, the new one I posted today is of every time I passed Ashley yesterday. And then showing a guy that crashed in our group too.
Bear, lay down.
Is it clicking again? Bear. Sounded like a motor running, not electrical, or like electrical. Oh yeah, it was a blast. Ashley did really well. She actually made a new friend out there that is another girl, and they're about the same speed. The other girl has an actual track bike, and she's definitely got a little more experience and has her professional riding style down, but she wasn't any faster than Ashley. So Ashley might be hooked. This girl was trying to get Ashley to go all over the country racing. This girl travels all over by herself racing. She's got her own Jeep that she pulls her own trailer, and she stays in her trailer at night. Pretty crazy. And she's what, 22 years old? She said? Yeah.
Our track days racing though, is that?
Well, it's the same thing. Whatever. She goes all over for everything. So anyway, yeah. I guess we can. It's after 7, so yeah. Basically, we went there yesterday, and we were in the heart class, both of us, and it was great for Ashley. I mean, she learned a lot. She rode with an instructor through 3 sessions, right?
No, well, I followed her for 3.
And then she followed you.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So you rode with her for how many?
She followed me for 3 then, or no, 2 because she didn't do the last one then.
Okay, so the last one you're by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Yep. So she was with the instructor pretty much the whole day. And I was told after like the 3rd session, they asked if everybody had been with an instructor yet or not. And everyone said yes, except for I shook my head no. And the instructor goes, "You don't need an instructor, shut up," or something like that. I'm like, okay. But anyway. But learned a lot too. I mean, I was way faster on my lap times trying to just go smooth through the corners and leaving my bike in 2nd gear pretty much the whole time, except for the one really sharp corner I had to downshift to low. And I probably could have shifted to 3rd down the front straightaway and and got a lot more speed, but then I'd have really been shutting her down to get into corner number 1. So it maybe eventually, but see what my next time we'll have to get transponders and see what our lap times actually are. I could hang with the instructors when they were actually running hard, unless they passed somebody. I wasn't as comfortable passing as they were, just because I was always worried the other person was going to cut in front of me. So you never knew, because these guys were, a few of them were out of control. As you can see at the end of the one video, Ashley was a little upset. Why don't you tell them why, Ashley?
Because this guy came and
We should maybe tell them about that guy first.
okay, so this guy was very
ADD.
yeah, so and he was very cocky.
Yep,
Also.
young guy, probably in his early 20s also.
Yeah.
Our first session, they cut us loose. He actually got black flagged and pulled off the track and talked to for driving too recklessly or riding too recklessly. So go ahead and tell them what happened in the last session.
So then in the last session, I'm going along and he passes me going into a corner, or no, it was right after the corner, but then he like cut over right in front of me and I had to go off onto the tiger
The tiger stripes.
tiger stripes on the side, or else he would have hit me. And so that irritated me because he very easily could have made me wreck then. And then the next time around, or like 2 more times around, he came and he passed me super close in the middle of a really tight turn where they had said don't pass in that corner specifically. And he got super close to me again that time. So he was just like super reckless.
So corner number 2, where they said not to pass, the reason they didn't want us to pass in corner number 2 is the one where I had to actually downshift to low gear. It's a super sharp, basically a 180. And then the tiger teeth or stripes, whatever they call them, actually came to a point in the very middle of that corner. So that's how sharp it was. And then there was another right-hander directly after it. So that's why they said don't pass in that corner, because if you're halfway around them through the corner, you're going to be on the inside of them on the next, and you weren't supposed to pass on the inside no matter what. So that was the rules, and he was kind of breaking them. Like I said, he got talked to, and I was surprised he didn't wreck just like the other guy that was in the one video. Because the guy that was in that did wreck, the first time they cut us loose coming out of corner number 10, he cut to the inside of me and was within inches of me, and I was just like, what in the world? And I just kind of let him go, but he wrecked the next like 2 or 3 laps later. So yeah, and what it is these guys were young and they had big egos. You know, yeah, they were good riders, but they weren't as good as they thought they were. Is what the problem was. So
When they like had no regard for anybody else out there.
well, yeah, I mean they thought they were in a race on a racetrack. So why is it not showing us who all is in here? I mean, we see Lori and Steve because they actually said something. But
Look, it just says 2 people up
oh,
there.
they're the only ones in here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's 3. Someone else just joined. Anyway.
Oh, I was gonna share it. Can't we share it?
Yeah, go ahead. But other than that, I mean, like I said, we both got way better throughout the day. The last session out, the only ones that passed me were the instructors at the very end of the session. I actually pretty much passed everybody on the track. You could just tell it kind of, you start learning the track and you get comfortable with it. You know where the bumps are and everything like that. So it got a lot better. But Ashley was getting a lot better too. Obviously, that last session is where I screenshotted her out of that was corner number 9, right? And put it on Facebook and Instagram. So showing how much she was leaning. I mean, like I told her, I said if she would have had her knee sticking out, she'd have been really close to dragging her knee. But she still got a little bit of chicken strip left. But she actually had enough heat in her tire that there was balls on her tire when we got into the pits that time. I mean, it was actually balled up, so she was putting some cornering in there. Pretty impressive. And then Fino was out there with us too on his new track bike, and he's getting used to it. And he got it down pretty good too. I've got some video of him. I put my one GoPro on his bike for his last session, and he did pretty well. I I mean, he's learning the track too. We've been talking about it actually, Steve. So I think Ashley's really interested to like kind of try and go around with this other girl a little bit because that girl really wants to find another girl to ride, to go places with her and ride together because it's always all guys. And like I told Ashley, I'm sure at night when she's spending the night there, these guys are probably drinking beer and trying to hit on her and stuff. So it's probably why she'd like to have another girl with her to kind of for protection or whatever. But we were talking about it. This girl had a, what were they, Ninja 300s? She got 2 Ninja 300s. Yeah. So we were looking, and I mean, you can buy a new one for about $1,000 more than you can buy good used ones for. So we were talking about that, and you might be better off buying a brand new Ninja 400, taking all the street stuff off of it, buying race plastics, take it out and run it on the track for a few years, and then take the plastics off and put all the street stuff back on and sell it as a low mile new bike, basically. Low mile mint condition bike, right? But I mean, it's she could have a lot of fun doing that. And I'd already been looking for a bike to build. I almost bought a CBR 1000 here. That was probably 2 months ago. That had been looped, so the rear subframe was bent and stuff, but the forks and all the suspension, everything was good. So I thought about it, but I hesitated, and someone snapped it off underneath me. So, but anyway, so yeah, we've been talking about it maybe for next year. Like I said, Ashley's actually almost more interested than I am. And I'll be honest, after that last session when I was riding hard, I was wore out, and Fino was too. They had one more session that they put an extra session in for the day, so they had a 7th session. And before, when they announced it, Fino's like, "Oh, we need to go to the 7th session too." Well, when we got back, he was already completely undressed and was like, "Nope, I'm done for the day." I told him I was breathing hard. I'm like, "Yeah, me too." So it's a lot of work. People don't realize how much work it is to ride hard. At least not people that have never done it. Anyway.
It was super fun though.
Yep. And yeah, Ashley had a blast. I mean, she wants to do it again. They're thinking about doing it in November. So, October again. They don't have anything signed up for October or November, and they said both of them they might have a track days both months. So, Steve, get ready.
They have a days pending one listed for November though.
Yep, but they don't actually have it set for sure. And then they do have another one in September, but we'll be gone obviously on our trip. But so Ashley, how about your bike? What do you think about it at the track?
I think it did really good. I don't have anything to compare it to. It did good for me. It leaned some. I leaned more than I've ever leaned before, and I didn't fall over like I've always been worried about.
So she thinks she's going to fall over. That's why she's scared to lean off of her bike, because she thinks her bike's going to tip. And it's just that natural safety in your brain. So anyway.
No. I had never ridden on a motorcycle before. Well,
yeah, Troy,
as a passenger, I had. But...
Yeah, Troy, it was a track to even yesterday. I'm gonna try and use her picture for. I've got a couple more videos to make for the track day, and I screenshot a picture out of one of the corners where I actually was behind her in a corner, and she's leaned over pretty good. That CB500 will actually go. And like we were just talking about, I don't know if you're here when we were just talking about it, but the other girl that was out there that was full race bike, a Ninja 300, but it was full race bike. She was totally decked out racer girl, and she never passed Ashley once. I mean, they both ran with instructors up until about the same time. And in that last session, she was about, 2 corners behind Ashley, and that's where she stayed both times when I passed both of them. So Ashley's doing really good considering this other girl's been to the track. How many times did she say?
This was her 6th time.
6th time.
But
she crashed
her first time
out, so she's a little nervous, she said. But both of them, I think, had a lot of fun having another girl there to talk with.
It was nice.
And like Ashley said, Lori, or whichever one of you is on here. I'm assuming Lori. But she just got her license and started riding. Last
So I passed my MSF like
October,
Halloween
right?
weekend,
Yep.
but we rode a few times in the winter. But I didn't really start riding until like March.
I was gonna say, yeah, March she rode a couple times, then April is when she really started riding when she got her new bike. So, yep. So yeah, that's I mean, she did good, and I think the CB500. She's a little nervous about getting on the throttle a lot too. I think it could actually be a pretty decent track demon if she gets used to actually getting on it coming out of the corner, because she still just kind of comes
Yeah,
out of the
that's what
corner and
she
stands
said.
up. Yep,
That I needed to
step on it.
accelerate more out of the corner.
Yep. So it's all things she can work on, and like we said, she's probably going to go back out and run the heart class again, run with an instructor again, so that that she can learn all that stuff even better. So, and she already asked me how we can make her track or her bike faster.
No, I was just asking about it.
So I don't think we're going to spend any money on making the 500 any faster. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the machine does make a difference, especially out at this track, Troy, because it's got probably 3 really long straightaways, right?
2,
2. I was thinking
9, and then 1.
Yeah. Well, and going into 2 is long too, over the hill.
Oh yeah.
So it's like 3 long straightaways. My CBR 1000 was actually it wanted to wheelie on 2 of them pretty bad. So and then the front straightaway had a little bump that would make it want to get light in the front end too. But it on those straightaways, I could pretty much get just about every bike that was in our class going down the straightaway, except for a couple. So but in the corners, yeah, I mean it's all about the bikes. I mean, I was telling Ashley there are people I caught in a couple curves where I caught her at that I caught up to way faster than I caught up to her, and they were guys that had been out there before. So it was really fun. Like I said, there was another guy out there that was about the same age as me, in our 50s, and he said he'd been at the track like 25 years ago or something. And I said, yeah, I was about 30 for me, and we went riding, but he was pretty timid, so I don't think he's been riding at all since he's been at the track. I mean, he seemed like he was pretty beginnerish, so I don't know if he even passed Ashley. He was pretty slow, but at least he's out there. Let's see here. But yeah, I mean, we what else was there? Like I said, we were talking about maybe looking for a bike to turn into a track bike for Ashley. I think she's a little maybe needs it more than I do. I'm not super excited to go to the track all the time, but maybe if I do it a few more times, and if I had a bike that I didn't care about, that's another reason. So I might build a track bike too, just to see. Because one thing that really kept me from pushing it any more than I did was I didn't want to wreck the Repsol. So
Same.
Yep, exactly. At least he's out there riding. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, get out and have fun. I mean, it's and we're better to do it and be safe. I mean, they had such big runoffs that, in my mind, it was almost impossible to crash. I mean, I don't know how that one kid crashed, because it's a car racetrack. So I mean, the track is wide and big, and then even if you do go off the track, it's tons of grass to run off in. And his bike was right on the edge of the racetrack. So I mean, he just I don't know what happened. I really don't know. I almost wonder if he didn't get on it too hard and his back end kicked out from under him or something, because the way his bike was laying there backwards on the side of the track. Yeah, Steve, it sure would. You need to get it out there. I mean, you'd have a blast out there. I mean, it was definitely worth the money, and it was a blast. And you don't need to buy expensive gear. They let you run in the. Ashley just had her Ceviche. Yep, her Ceviche mesh armored gear. The only thing they ask to make sure you have is a helmet that hasn't been crashed in the last 5 years, and or hasn't been crashed, and it has to be less than 5 years old.
And a back protector.
And then a back protector. But they didn't check if you had a back protector, so they wouldn't have known if you did or not. Yep. Oh, I know. And like I said, this kid, I don't know if you were on here earlier, Troy, but he passed me kind of recklessly in the first session they let us loose in, and our bikes are pretty even down the front straight, so he was obviously riding a leader bike. And like I said, I think his back end probably got away from him because the way his bike was sitting, it was backwards and right on the edge of the track. So it either slid out from underneath him or he looped it, one of the two. But yeah, he definitely went for a ride. There's 2 crashes yesterday. There was one in the novice class too, and like we were talking to a couple people, and they said the novice class and the Heart class are the 2 most dangerous classes, because the Heart class is the complete beginners and the novice class is the guys that think they're good enough to move up. So
Well, but the Heart isn't even totally just beginners, but if you haven't raced at that track before, you have to go
Well, yeah.
on it.
Everybody's
So-
got to go to it the first time they go, which it's worth it because you learn everything about the track and all the rules and stuff like that. And they kind of show you the lines. So, I mean, that helps too. But it's definitely a lot of fun. And like I said, well worth the Heart class. And yesterday they had not a lot of bikes out there, so they actually let the novice group run with us or run with them. I went through probably about 4 gallons in my CBR 1000, 4 to 5, and Ashley probably went through 2.
I think I was
She's
down
lucky.
2 bars.
Yeah, maybe 2 gallons. Oh, Kraken's here. What's up, Kraken? But we, the CB500 doesn't use any gas. I mean, if she would have been getting on it harder, she probably would have used half a tank, but I think she only used like 1/4 tank. But my CBR, like I said, I put probably an extra 1.5 gallons in for the last session. And I filled it just before we got there, and it's got a 4.5 gallon tank. So somewhere between 4 and 6 gallons. But yeah, I mean, that CB500, when Ashley rides it her normal self, just riding down the road, she gets like 80 miles to the gallon. So she can go a long ways.
Can go like W.
Yeah. But I think we ran like 104 miles total by the end of the day yesterday on the track, which I tell you what, riding on the track hard like that for 104 miles wears you out a lot more than riding even in the twisties hard, because you're riding a lot harder on that track. I was so tired in the last session that I was actually, and hot. I mean, I was crazy tired and hot. Oh yeah, exactly. Have fun. And that's what we did. But I was getting so tired and hot, I was almost tempted to pull it in. And then I'd see someone else around 2 corners ahead of me, and I'd be like, oh no, I can catch him. And I just stayed out there and kept riding. And when I was wore out and breathing hard, when we came in after the last session, and when Ashley helped me get my suit off, she pulled the back of my suit down, and it actually looked like we had spilled a whole bottle of water on the floor and all the sweat that ran out of my back protector. So, but yeah, it's fun doing it in the car too, Troy. I used to race cars. That's what I used to do back years and years ago, and that's kind of when I quit riding motorcycle for a while, other than dirt bikes. And then once I quit racing cars, I kind of got back into motorcycles again. I actually like motorcycles better. I have a lot more fun on motorcycle. But it's like I said, I don't know. We'll probably build track bikes for next year and see. We'll just see. You know, if we like it, great. If not, we're not gonna have a lot of money in them. So
If we can find cheap ones.
well, cheap's all relative. But so how far is that from you, Kraken? We ours was about an hour and a half drive to get to where we were going. So what is it, like 100 and some miles or so from us?
I don't remember mileage wise.
Something like that.
How big was the girl on the 300? She was tiny.
Yeah, she was like 22 years old, probably 4, same height as you probably,
Yeah.
and probably weighed 100
I think
pounds.
she said she weighed like 115.
Yeah, she was a little tiny thing. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't know if you wanted us to use your real name on here or not, Eric. So, I don't know if you guys know who Kraken is. He's got his own channel, and it's pretty cool channel. He does a lot of cool stuff on there. You need to go check him out. Yeah, 410 is really tiny. That's funny. But so about 100 miles from you too, Eric. Yeah, it was about the same for us, but it's like an hour and a half because it was all highway, so we were able to get there pretty quick. Mostly highway. There was one twisty road that at 5 in the morning in the dark wasn't real fun to drive on. But you're never too old, Eric. Never too old. The one instructor that was that told me that I didn't need an instructor was, what do you say, 73?
70 something.
Yeah, I think he said 73. And he was fast. He was driving a Super Duke or riding a Super Duke.
He was hauling ass.
Yeah, he was dragging me. I mean, he was fast. So age is just a number. But yeah, you wouldn't have guessed him to be 73 either by the way he talked and walked, and he was in good shape. But yeah, I think if Ashley. So, where did that Hannah girl say the next track day she was going at was? When was it?
I don't.
I think it was when we were on our trip. Because remember she was talking about it.
Yeah, and it was somewhere north.
Kansas. It was right up.
No.
It was the Ozark Raceway, she said, or something.
No,
Not Kansas,
I don't
Missouri.
think. No, I don't think it was that one.
I don't know. She was talking.
She was talking about trying to get that one to have a track.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. They're on Marketplace all the time, Steve. I mean, and you're a lot more common size than I am, so I bet you can find one on there. I just go on Marketplace and search by brands. Put in Alpine Star, Dionysi, Sedici, any of them, and you can find them on there, like almost brand new ones where they obviously bought it, went to the track, didn't like it, wore it like twice, and decided to sell it. And they're selling it for like $800 less than new. So, yeah, I heard RD 400s were pretty bad machines back in the day. That's pretty cool, Eric. Yeah. Yeah,
Marketplace
exactly.
has all kinds of stuff.
Yep, you just got to know how to search for the stuff. You know, if you, like I said, if you search by the brand name, it'll bring that kind of stuff up. So it's a great place to look. Problem is, I'm a little bit bigger, so to find my size, it gets a little tougher. But if you're in that 5'8" to 6 foot range and under 200 pounds, there's going to be a bunch of stuff out there for you. Other than that, I mean, what else did we learn yesterday?
You were happy that what they were telling me was all stuff that you had been telling me.
They were pretty much telling her exactly the stuff I was telling her. Even the leaning on her left side of the bike more than the right, and what else? Accelerating up hills because she lets her bike just slow down when she's going up hills. I can't remember what all else, but just about everything was like right on what I've been telling her. So, but it's good for her to hear it from someone else, because to hear it from me, it sounds like I'm bossing her around. Yeah, that's true.
Really, you can't go that way.
Yeah, well, the CB500 doesn't have any assists either. So, but like I said, I think we'll start with like maybe a Ninja 400, or if we can find a good used one 300, or something like that, and get her on that first until she gets her speed up. Because same thing with me, she doesn't want her wreck her CB500,
Especially not right before a trip.
Well, exactly, and you got, even if we bought her a newer Ninja 400 or even a new one, like I said, if we pulled the plastics off and the lights and everything off of it, put the race plastics on, some frame sliders, stuff like that, even if she went down a couple times, we could put it back to street and still get money out of it when she wanted to move up. So that's kind of the plan, is to try and figure something like that out. And then, like I said, I didn't want to wreck my bike either, so I'll probably be looking for a bike too. But everyone out there is like, oh, you don't need a leader bike and all this stuff. Well, I don't know. I kind of like my front end coming up, going over the hills and stuff. I think I've seen that before, the GSXR 400. I wouldn't buy the GSXR 250. It's just too small. I mean, it barely tops out at like 65. And on those straightaways, if she actually starts moving, I mean, you're doing 50 through the corners for the most part. Even Ashley was doing, 45, 50 in the corners. So, I mean, a 250 is just going to be a little too small, I think. But if we could find her a GSXR 400, that'd be cool. Because I like Suzuki's a little better than Kawasaki's. But yeah, we, what was I going to say there? Yeah, we'll start looking. I mean, we're gonna wait till. I mean, we'll maybe go to another track day this year, but we'll have all winter to get ready for next year and get something. I like I said, I mean, I've been riding leader bikes since I was in my 20s, and it'd be really tough to go down to a 600 that can barely pull a front end in a power wheelie in first gear.
They won't do that.
They might, but barely. Not like my bike. But it. Coming out of corner number 9 every time my front end was off the ground at least 2-3 inches. So that was a lot of fun when your tire's not even on the ground. But yeah, the SV 650 is another one that I didn't even think about looking for one of them. The only problem with the upright bikes like that is you get lazy riding them, and you can see that like Ashley too. It's hard to get into the mode to lean over. I ride my CB 1000 really lazy, because it's so hard to get into attack mode on it because of the way the foot pegs are and the seat is soft and you sit straight up and the handlebars are up. You're up. Where my CBR, it's just natural to move to the side and lean like you should. I mean, it's so natural to do it on a bike that has a little more of an attack position. But I mean, we can put clip-ons and stuff on an SV too and make it more of an attack bike. And I mean, it's basically the same as a GSXR, just with the V twin instead of the inline 4. Oh, excuse me. But all the components bolt right on from the GSXR onto the SV. A buddy of mine's done that to his SV. He's got the shocks and everything off of the GSXR. So that's pretty cool. Steve says he hears Heartland Park is better. Yeah. I mean, there's a few tracks that are pretty close to us to check out.
Where's Heartland Park?
I'm assuming over in Arkansas, because Heartland Honda's over there too. But it's that's this girl was telling us about an awesome track that I guess she's been trying to get them to have track days there. It's in Kansas. Well, that's probably where she goes. That's where she was from, right? It's Kansas.
Kansas City.
So yeah, exactly. The SV, I didn't even think about that. We might have to look for one of them for you, because you wouldn't outgrow that for a long time. It'd be a lot of power for you. So, and cheap. You can find them cheap, and you can build them cheap. And shoot, we could probably even go out and buy Doyle's from him already. It's already got the GSXR stuff on it.
This doesn't look like a race bike, though.
No, it looks like the Sport Naked, but you can make them into a race bike. Oh yeah, way more power than the CB 500. The other option is the CB 650, but the problem is they're kind of newer, so they're expensive. You can't find them for less than about $7-8 grand hardly, But we've also thought about trying to find her an older 600, but the problem is you got to be really careful with used sport bikes, because they usually weren't taken care of very well. I mean, they were usually owned by a kid that didn't change the oil, probably crashed it 25 times, pieced it together. It's like I've seen a lot of junk out there when you look at sport bikes. So, but the SVs didn't seem to get beat on quite as bad. And but like I said, you can buy a new Ninja 400 for right around 5,000. Yeah, especially the 6s. Yep. And you can buy a new Ninja 400 for right around $5 grand out the door. I believe it was. And like I said, you could pull everything off of it, turn it into a race bike, race it for a couple of years, put everything back on it, and probably get 3/4 of your money back out of it, because it'd be low miles. And I mean, just doing track days, unless you're really, really railing on it, you're not going to hurt the engine. I mean, Ashley's not ever going to hit redline, I don't think. She shifts way before that. It scares her.
I rev limited it out there a few times.
Did you? Good job. But I mean, even hitting the rev limiter, those bikes are going to be able to do that a million times before they get hurt. So But you guys got any other questions for us? I mean, it. Oh, exactly. I mean, she'll get the hang of it. It's even just a few sessions. I mean, you can tell the difference. Yeah, Harley Davidson 883. Yep, that'd be perfect. The new Sportster S, actually. That would be a good one. Yep. Yep, I've seen people do that to the 883s. The problem with the 883 is you still have a 600-pound bike. But that new Sportster S, you can do all that stuff too. And what's it weigh? Just over 500 wet and ready to ride, I think. So, I mean, it's getting down there into the normal weight range for race bike. Probably have to change the front tire to a 17.
What are clip-ons?
Clip-ons are what I remember I explained that to you before. They clip on to the side of your forks on the front instead of having handlebars above them. Yeah. Yep. But, and what rear sets are is your foot pegs. The different ones that raise them up and stuff. So that's why he's saying get a Harley 83 and then change the clip-ons on it rear sets. So that's cool. Are you doing a video on that too, or? I can't remember. I've watched so many of your videos, Eric, that I don't know what all I've watched. Like I said, your little Benelli actually got me to almost buy one a while back here, but everybody was crazy with their out the door prices because it was about the time when everything was going crazy, so I just held off. So the closest racing schools is basically down in Dallas, I believe, or down in that Texas somewhere. They've got a racing school. It's about 4.5, 5 hours away from us, probably.
Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, it's down at the track down there. They've got a racing school, and we thought about that. But I mean, these instructors that they had out here in the Hart class, I mean, they can pretty much teach you anything they want, all the way up to however far you want to go. I mean, they were good. So, I mean, they weren't slow. I could hang with them, like I said, and stay right on them. They'd pass me, but then if I was following them, I could stay right on them. And then until we'd pass someone else and they'd get a little ways ahead of me, then I couldn't do it. Like I always say, it's easier to follow than it is to lead. So that's why I was able to hang with them when they were right ahead of me. So there were Groms out there. I don't know.
I don't think they went on the track.
No, I know. I don't know if they ever let them out on the track or not. This track has, like I said, some pretty long straightaways to the point where if your bike can't do, like I was hitting about 100, I think the fastest I hit was like 115 in the front straightaway, and I was letting off way before I got to the corner because I was just trying to save brakes and tires and stuff. I mean, I wasn't out there to beat the ever-living piss out of my bike, but I mean, I could have probably hit about 130 in the front straightaway, and I was hitting close to 100 on the other two straightaways also. So it's a little too big a track, I think, for Groms. But I think they've got a mini bike track in Tulsa somewhere. I've heard people talking about it. Yeah, I mean, I know they do have Grom races around. That would be a good fun little bike to have too. And I mean, that's what the Benelli would be good with in that series too. I mean, I mean, pretty much any of those bikes that are in that same class, I think they let them run. I've talked to a couple guys that said they've got that track. They let them run in the JRP. Is that the name of the little Grom track, Steve? But yeah, I know they have they've got an underground Grom race that goes through the tunnels somewhere in Tulsa too that somebody told me about.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody was telling me about that. And then when we did our police training course, they were telling us that it was the Groms and the little dirt bikes and stuff that they have the biggest problem with people running away from them on. So, because they can just cut through people's yards and stuff. But a 24-hour race on a Benelli. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that anymore. Getting a little old for that. My knees couldn't do it, I don't think. I thought that was a cart track, Steve. Yeah, I heard that about the drones. It'd be fun to do too, but man, it's almost like the mini crotch rockets that they make. When you see those guys crash on those little bikes, it almost looks like it hurts worse than the big bikes because they just kind of slam you into the ground so quick that you don't even know what's coming. But kind of like when you're on a trike when you're a little kid, you know how it tipped over and like just smashed you into the dirt instead of like your bicycle would throw you away from it. But who else is on here? We're up to 7 for a minute there, but anyway, you guys got any more questions? I mean, I can't think of what to really say. I was trying to get better video. I've got my GoPro 8 all set up, but I must have hit some setting on there where it would only record for about 5 minutes. So I got 1 lap on my 8. But we'll get that figured out for next time. And then I wanted to take the CB out on the track for a session or two and just see how it compared to the CBR, but my front tire was a little too baloney skinish, so I didn't want to take it out there. Figured I'd just be lap traffic with that thing, with that tire on it.
Like me.
Yeah. All right, Eric, we'll catch you later. Thanks for joining the feed. Like I said, guys, go check out Kraken's Garage. Pretty cool channel, and he does a lot of cool things on there. He has his Benelli, like I said. He got one of the new Harley retro Electroglides. I can't think of what it's called right now, but with the white fairing white fairing and blue, I think, or white and blue. Pretty cool. He's doing some riding on that, and he just had back surgery, so he's not doing a lot of videos right now, but he'll get back at it. So go check him out.
He has a ton on there to watch.
Oh yeah, he's got tons of videos. So, and his mom and dad used to ride too. He's got a video just recently where he read a ride report from his mom and dad on the last ride they did together, and it's pretty cool. All right, Steve, we'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for being on here. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I mean, like I said, we'll just kind of end this probably with, we had a blast yesterday. Any of you that are in our area, you know, let us know, and we'll go out there with you guys, or ride with you, whatever, and maybe even if we're in another area. We're going out east here in a little while. I mean, we do a little traveling around. So,
and if you're a newbie, I definitely suggest going and doing a track day at least once. It helps me a ton.
Yep. I mean, if anything, it's going to boost your confidence. I mean, she was scared to lean her bike because she thought it was going to tip over and doesn't quite understand. But yeah, thanks, Troy. Yeah, you know, she didn't understand that the bike naturally, can't get it through her head. The bike naturally wants to stand up. So if she's going fast enough around the curve, it's not going to tip over, you know, unless she's going too fast. And she just needs to break through that barrier. So we got antsy dogs here now. We're ignoring them, so they're coming in here and bumping into stuff. So but anyway, guys, we're going to sign off right now. Adopt, don't shop. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. Talk to you guys later.